Alright, welcome back to another video, and today we're gonna, have the tier list, or, as you can see from the title, we're gonna be ranking the new characters from this update in a tier list, which is my tier list, and the way this tier list works, okay, just like the last one, we're gonna be rating them off rainbow, not of quads, not of secret, because that's a different type of rating, we're not doing that. So I'm purely rating off how their effective are in hard content and also in mid content, I guess, and also purely off their like what they can do as well. And yeah, mostly scaling them by rainbow. And honestly, I'm gonna say right now before I even start the list, they're all good. Like they all have some use. They're all really good. This is not like the other update where I think there's a one that's a miss because they all have their own uses. But yeah, we're gonna start the tier list now. First one we got Dio das S. Like I don't know, I don't even have to say anything. Honestly, I don't even have to say anything. Like this card right here is insane. Like I'm gonna read it out just like last time. I'm gonna read the passive and explain what I used it and stuff. Upon entry, off-field enemies become skill disabled for 3 turns. Upon enemy entry, split reality for 2 turns. Card this card to revert 30% of incoming damage and gain it as damage. Upon its effect expiring, immediately 200% damage. On fatal hit, negate the damage and deal it to all living enemies, reducing by 25% after each enemy. If this kills an enemy, stop time for 1 turn, return ability after 3 turns. This, the most important thing is, of course, upon entry, alpha enemies become skill disabled for 3 turns, which is really good because now almost every type of guy you fight in ranked, I mean, he's banned now, but before, there's always some off-field enemy that can do some skill, or even in Battle Tower, or even in Story, I've tried it. There's always some enemy that has like an off-field skill, but since he can disable that, that's insane for 3 turns, which is a long time. But the most important part, I think, is the fatal hit, which I don't know. Sometimes it is kind of weird because sometimes it wouldn't work. But I guess it's because I don't know, enemy have like a skill disable or something. I don't know, but it's kind of weird. But once it does proc the fatal hit, bro, it's insane, bro. He deals it to all living enemies, even if it's just reducing by 25% to each enemy. If the enemy has like an insane amount of damage, like say 2 mil, like technically you could use this card against a card that does 2 million damage and he's like a basic, and because he has to negate the damage, so if he gets the damage, like let's say he takes 2 million damage from the other card, no, he deals it to all living enemies by reducing by 25% after each enemy. And if it does kill the enemy, it stops time for 1 turn and recharges his ability. Like this ability can be recharged, which is insane. Like I think that's the most insane, like it's insane thing that this is not just a one time, but this can happen again. Like technically, if I'm reading this right, technically he can survive forever. He can survive forever with this fatal hit, no? If I'm not tweaking, because he can recharge the ability. But yeah, he's insane. Insane card overall. He's putting in S tier. Honestly, they're in S tier. He's insane. He's just amazing. I can't lie. He's just amazing. The other one we have is the Emerald Crusader. Each turn place a prismatic thread, max 3 threads. Whenever the enemy attacks, each thread reduces damage by 10% and triggers prismatic splash, dealing 55% damage. Unleash prismatic splash each turn, dealing 120% of damage. Replaces basic attack for each thread. This triggers a bonus time, dealing 65% damage. No one can block the prismatic splash. When I use this card, he's really good. Even in I use him in dungeon with the rainbow. I think I got him secret once as well. But also against him as a boss, you guys know in dungeon I've played it, and also I've tried it in battle tower. This passive is actually really good. I like this a lot. Even though it's just like doing a ton of damage, he does reduce his damage, and honestly, he kind of like kills them instantly. If even in rainbow, like he does a insane amount of damage because he hits so many times with the prismatic thread. The only downside is he doesn't really have anything special besides just doing damage, I would say. Like all this is basically damage on damage on damage on damage passive. So I would think he's more, I would say with me using him, and just because I only see him just doing damage, I will put him around B tier because his damage is high. I would say that in rainbow stats it is high, so that's why I'm putting him in B tier. But it is just for me just damage on damage, so it's not like that special for me. But he's still good. He's still good. Like as I said, all these characters are good in this update, but some of them have like kind of like these passes where it's just like, it's just damage on damage, right? So it does have the each that reduces damage for 10%. There's like 30% damage reduced, which is also good. But realistically, the first like 2 to 3 turns like matters in a fight, so he might not even fully be able to proc this with the max 3 threads. And now we get the next one, which is Abdul. Find it. There you go. Flame Diviner right here. On entry, mark a random living off-field enemy, causing all burn damage dealt by this card's ability to also burn the marked target. Mark transfers upon death. Enemies hit this card immediately burn for 2 turns, dealing 100% damage. Every other turn, stun the active enemy for 1 turn and deal damage equal to all burn damage dealt by this card in the last 2 turns. This is a really, really good card. It is kind of RNG though, if you want to use him like maybe in ranked, if he's like I think he's able, because he can mark a random as a random living off-field enemy, and also in battle tower, in also another story mode, and in dungeon. He was well, you can use him in dungeon, but his stand was also really good. And overall, I like this ability. When I use it in battle tower, the mark random live off the mark a random living off-field enemy was actually really good. Because also when the I think when the because the marks can transfer upon death, so if I think pretty sure if he dies, then it can transfer to someone else, and that's really good. And also he just does an insane amount of damage with his burn, and also the stun. He can stun the active enemy and then deal damage equal to all burn damage done by this card. So this card is an insane damage dealer, and he has an entry where he technically I would say appears. Not really, but he marks can kill a random living off-field enemy, and it could be an important card, so that's also good. And also the burn is just amazing, and then the stun. Yeah, he does like 3 things. He does the on entry mark, burn, and then every other turn stun, and he does an insane amount of damage. I would say this card is at least an A tier. I would say this card is at least an A tier. I put him already in, but yeah, I would say he's an A tier. He's a really good card. I like this guy. I've used him. And that's just my personal experience, you know? My opinion, by the way. I forgot to say that at the beginning. This is my opinion of the tier list, okay? Don't come attack me. But yeah, let's get their next card. Then we have Bizarre Dog. Here, when attacked, 40% chance to appear as a sand copy of the active enemy or random living enemy ally for 1 turn. Each time this fails, gain a 50% damage, 50% base damage. If this card appears as the active enemy, they share 50% of the incoming damage and are stunned for 1 turn. Appearing as an enemy ally, reduces incoming damage by 20%. Next turn, follow up for 95%, targeting the active and copied enemy card. Dude, I can't lie. When I use this, it wasn't really that special. Like, maybe I'm just unlucky, but the 45% chance seems a little bit too low. I think it should be at least 50. I think it should be 50. I don't think it should be 45. It's too low for the thing to active. Because I had multiple times where I tried using him in battle towers. Bro, he would literally just... Bro, his thing wouldn't even proc, and he just dies, you know? I know I only have him in gold, so I had to go a little bit lower battle. I had to play lower battle towers because I don't have rainbow. But even in rainbow, the 45% chance, I think it's way too low. Because that's what you need for this thing to even act. Like, I mean, each time it says he gains 50% base damage, but that doesn't really matter because his health doesn't change, and like he just gets cooked most of the time when I used him. And I think it should be 50%, but overall he wasn't like that useful towards me. Like, I feel like maybe I just got lucky, but he doesn't feel like a WoW character. Like, he doesn't feel like that amazing to use, honestly. He didn't feel that amazing to use. Maybe in ranked, this guy could work with the 45% chance. I don't know though. But otherwise, if he does proc it, his 45% chance to copy as an enemy or copy as an enemy ally, he is a good card. Then he is a good card. But I do think 45% chance does lower him a bit. So I would say he's like a... Okay, that's the thing, right? If he does proc it, he's good. I would say he's B tier. If he doesn't, he's like a C tier. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll do B tier, just for my opinion. Because maybe I just got hella unlucky when I used him. And he felt like really useless. But when he does proc it, it does feel amazing to use, and I think it's still a good card at the end of the day. Next up, we have Golden Jockey. On entry, summon 2 fearful beasts at 85% of this card's stats. If the enemy party contains a living summon, randomly transform one of them into a fearful beast to fight alongside this card for 3 turns before dying. Every other turn, deal 175% damage and poison the active enemy, dealing 65% damage for 2 turns. And for that, I also need to read this guy right here. This card always attacks the same target as its summoner. Oh, okay, so this card always attacks the same target as its summoner. Yeah, okay. Dealing 65% damage for each poison stack on the target. This card performs an additional attack. Each stack applies bleed physics for 45% damage for 2 turns. He's a good summon. I would say he's a good summon unit. I need to see. He's a good summon unit. Also, he's really good against like summoners, enemy summons, because he can randomly transform them into a fearful beast to fight alongside this card for 3 turns before dying, which is really good. That's pretty much it though. He's just good against cards that have summons. Otherwise, he feels a little bit meh. Like, I guess the every other turn deal 700 damage and poison the active enemy, but like, I don't know, he feels kind of meh either way to use, because that's all he does. Like, he has entry, like he has summons, and he has, if the enemy party contains, it's only if the enemy party contains a living summon. If he doesn't, then he only really has 2 things he does, which is every other turn deal 100% damage and poison active enemy. And when I used him, it didn't feel like, it just felt like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like that amazing. And then when he does summon the fearful beast, I do think like it's good that what they do, but I think it's still worse than what Shield Hero summons or Frozen Princess or Fairy Strategist does. I still think it's worse. I think he's a C tier, bro. I do think he's okay. Like I think he's good, but I don't know. When I used him, in my opinion, he's a C tier. Like the enemy needs to contain living summon, enemy that can summon. Otherwise, I don't know. He just doesn't do much that really changes the battle, in my opinion. Like the Emerald or like Flame Diviner does, or Send a Golden Vampire. You know what I mean? So I think he's okay. All right, next card we have. I actually forgot. I think it's like Vampire Blood Assassin or something. I don't know. Metallic Assassin. This guy right here. And this card allies with all cards named Assassin, Vampire Blood. While life enemies bleeding are marked with an Assassin's contract for 2 turns, increasing bleed damage by 60%, granting allied cards 55% damage. While active at the start of this card's turn, the active enemy bleeds for 95% damage, increasing by 20% for each round this card has been active. This card is a really, I would say, really good support card for characters that can bleed. Let's say Blood Valkyrie. You can use this guy, Blood Valkyrie, or you can use I think Golden Vampire. Yeah, he does. He applies the bleed. You can use Vampire and Blood. And this gives kind of them a buff. I can't lie, this does buff them if you have him in the team. For example, Blood Valkyrie, if you have her Secret still, she's still like gonna be insane. He's a good support card for bleed characters, and I think in the future there might be more bleed characters. So I'm gonna put this guy on. So like, I don't know if it's controversial, but I think he's a really good card when I used him, and I used him with other bleed characters. He felt really good to use and a really good support card, and he does buff them. Like, he did give all the characters that bleed a buff, so I would definitely put this guy in A tier just because he can do that. This guy, I have used him. He's really good. I like this card. While active, enemy buffs are inverted. Instead of reducing stats by 30% for 2 turns, debuffs against this card are inverted, granting a 35% base stats to this card, Pale Snake, and Heavenly Creation. Every other turn deal 275% damage. If the enemy stats have been inverted, deal 100% bonus damage and cost the last debuff to become permanent. This guy is really good. The only downside is that he has to be active against the enemy, and if the active enemy has an insane amount of stats, he could probably just get one-shotted. But either way, Mirror Rainbow, he's still really useful, and I would say he's still S tier. Besides that, the only downside I'm gonna say is since he has no defensive abilities, he could just get straight up one-shotted, depending on who you're against. But either way, purely off all of his passive, and I used him, he's still insanely good, and he helped me with a lot of things, so I would still put him in S tier. Next card we have Maiden Kevin. He's S tier. I don't think I even have to explain it, what he does. Like, I don't think I really have to. He's just an insane card. On entry, activate this card's domain, disabling all abilities and support cards for 2 turns. During domain, gain +1 attack each turn, granting 10% dodge per hit. After attacking, dodges reduce the chance by 50% and to 95% damage to the lowest HP enemy. On first death, activate this card's domain and gain full HP. Convert all remaining dodge chance into bonus damage to this card, Pale Snake and Lunar Inverter. And which I wanted to say for the last card as well, since they all three somehow are connected to each other and they can get more bonus damage from each other, they're really good. As I said, like, you can use all 3 cards in the team and they'd be insane because they all have, like, they're all connected with each other. They're all, like, they're like trio cards, and they give each other bonus damage, which is really good. And overall, this card's, besides the him giving bonus damage to Pale Snake and Lunar, insane. Like, his domain is insane, and he just doesn't, like, really die. Like, he just kills them. Like, he just does an insane amount of damage. He dodges. He has domain, which disables abilities and support cards, and he does an insane amount of damage, has more attacks, and he just basically blitzes through everything, and he's just an insane card. Other one is Star Jockey. Each turn, fire 3 bullets, each dealing 40% damage, and applying Spiral for 1 turn, dealing 20% damage. If the enemy dodges, blocks, or redirects the attack, Spiral still applies and locks the enemy out of that defensive effect. While active, each turn discover a Divine Corpse, granting 50% base stats, and a 50% chance to deny the first fatal hit. Each corpse adds 10% damage to all Spiral effects. This card, when I used him, he's really good. Only downside is he needs to, well, as I said, he needs to survive, which he also has his first fatal hit. But the thing is, he has a 50% chance to deny the first fatal hit, so it won't really happen that regularly. So it's also just like another RNG effect. Overall, he's a good character. I would say he's a B tier. Then we have Woven Star, which honestly, I think I should might put her in A tier because she was actually really good when I used her. On enemy entry, unleash your string net for 3 turns, dealing 80% damage per turn. Each enemy action increases the net's damage by 50% and reduces its duration by 1 turn. Upon the net expiring, stun the active enemy for 2 turns. Upon first fatal hit, survive at 1 HP and become untargetable for 2 turns. If the active enemy is stunned during this effect, restore 20% max HP. This card, when I used her in dungeon and in battle tile, whatever, was really good. Like, all of her her entire passive is Like, bro, it's insane. Like, I've used it, and it's all of them are useful. The on enemy entry, each enemy action increases its damage 50%, and upon the next turn, stun the active enemy. And then the first fatal hit is also amazing. The first fatal hit, because she survives with 1 HP and becomes untargetable for 2 turns, which is insane for 2 turns. And she does an insane amount of damage. She's a really good character. I'm putting an A tier. She's a really good character. I like this character a lot. Starface is getting put in S tier. I don't think there's really much to say. If you used him, you know what I'm talking about. Also read his passive though, of course. When attacked, 30% chance to cancel the attack, and time stop for 1 turn. Unleash your barrage for 5 strikes, dealing 30% damage each. When time resumes, gain damage equal to 35% of damage dealt during time stop. When time stop fails, increase your chance by 10% and barrage is performed by 1. On death, pretend to be defeated for 2 turns. Align this card to still perform time stop with the next ally's act. First of all, this character feels like Golden Vampire, but I do think he is better in some regards. Like, in some situations, he is better, I'd say, in my opinion. But also, Vampire, he can one-shot the entire enemy team, and then he's better then. But with him, right, since he seems really similar to the other guys, so I think it's same percentage. Also, they have like a similar passive as well. But he does like insane damage to one guy, and he could kill. If you think procs, he can easily kill the first guy, especially with the time stop. And his barrage is insane amount of damage, and he also gains that his damage is insane. And then the time stop, you know, they can't attack. And then on death, which is really good, I like this a lot. On death, pretend to be defeated for 2 turns. Allowing this card to still perform time stop with the next ally is active. So it can still be useful even after death for 2 turns with his time stop. Which probably, I'm pretty sure time stop means the enemy can't do an action. So for 2 turns, if it does proc, bro, you can just have 2 free hits, I'm pretty sure, for your next card, which is really, really good. Alright, next up, we have, I actually forgot this guy. Josuke? I think I'm pretty sure that's the name. Josuke. Shining Star. 15% chance to critically strike. Whenever this card heals an ally, increase the chance by 5%. Each turn, strike 5 times, each dealing 30% damage. Crits deal an extra 25% damage. When allies attack, they have a chance to regenerative strike. I can't say that word. The ally 3 times. Each restoring 10% of their max HP. Crits restore 15%. He is actually, I would say he's a good support card. I would not use him like in first or second or third. Well, third or fourth, I would use him as a support card, of course. He's more, I'm using more of a support card, and it was pretty good. My characters against my quad I used, like, he would, like, survive a lot longer with him, because we kept healing him. So, I would say he's, like, a B tier. Other than that, his only really capability is him supporting with the health, so I'll put him in B tier. He just feels more like a support card to me. Then we have Joseph. This card gains 10% dodge chance for 10% missing max HP, and heals for 10% damage dealt to the opponent. Upon dodging, taunt the enemy into taking 75% more damage and disabling their skill until next turn. Upon death, pass a headbutt to the next ally, granting 5% base damage if ally has star in their name. This effect also triggers on their death. This is really good. I like this card. I did use him. I actually didn't think he was that good at the beginning, but then I used him more, and he was actually way better than I thought he was. The 10% dodge chance is really good. The dodge chance, I like it a lot. The taunting the enemy into taking and disabling the skill is really good. That was helped me a lot. And then upon death, the headband to the next ally, if the ally is star, so you can use like Starface with him, which is also good to just like buff your entire, like you can buff your next card, and then Starface can also buff the next card on his death. So technically, if I'm reading this right, I did use it. If the ally has star in their name, this effect also triggers on their death. So if they die, Awakened Starface can perform the time stop, like pretend to be defeated, and have the headband until the next ally. So your next ally gets 35% damage or base stats, and have the time stop as well. So they could really work well together. And then you have like your quad as like your third card or something, which is really good. This is a really, like, they pair really well. So I would say he's like around an A tier in my opinion. He pairs really well with him, so put him in A tier. And then you're wondering why I have Awakened Sunblade Shinigami. He got reworked, so technically I would say he's a new card because he got reworked. Honestly, he's an S tier. Dungeon, he's amazing. He's really good in dungeons. I don't think I really have to explain what he does. I feel like everyone has already used them. But yeah, that's my tier list, and I hope you guys enjoyed the tier list. It's a lot of yap, so it won't be a lot of edits, you know, but you guys can just check for the tier list, and I hope you guys like the tier list. If you guys have any, I don't know, if you guys want to discuss anything in the comments, let me know down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.